and welcome to Just One More Watch. Apologies if I've been a little bit quiet this week. I haven't been feeling all that well. Indeed, the room is still spinning. So if you would all mind just sitting down for the next couple of minutes, that would help me out enormously. But the show must go on, so I'm back today with one of my favourite little subcategories, the Spec Monster micro brand. Now, I've been trying to work out where you get the best bang for your buck over the last couple of years at this value end of the watch market that is the mainstay of the channel here. Is it Seiko? Do you get your best bang from Seiko's divers, or the bottom rungs of the Swatch Group ladder, or do you indeed get the best value for money from micro brands? Now, I think some micro brands get it all wrong. They survey the market and they say, what's the most I can charge for this new product? That's why a lot of them don't get off the ground. I'm going to show you today the Axios Ironclad, a brand new watch by one of the creators of Zelos. So it's already got a bit of provenance about it. And I think the team at Axios have gone about it the entirely opposite way. They have thought, how much watch can we offer at the price point in question? That's one reason, a big reason, that I think this one is bound to succeed rather than to fail. Now, full disclosure, this video is sponsored by Axios. They are delighted for me to be able to show you their watch prior to the Kickstarter campaign launching in 2 weeks' time. You can have a good look at this review. As always though, don't just take my word for it. Bruce Williams, Mark from Average Bros, there's a bunch of other reviews available either on the Axios website, or I'm sure they are appearing in your YouTube feed right about now. But believe me when I say you are going to be impressed with the specs on offer with this one. Swiss-made Sellita SW200 automatic movement, one of the best lume videos that I can remember seeing in a watch at its price, and a 3-micron thin scratch-proof layer on the bracelet, the clasp and the case, ensuring that your Ironclad will look as good in a couple of years' time as it does when you peel off the stickers. Enough waffle, Jody, you're about to fall off your chair. Let's flip the camera and have a look at this one. So all the usual good stuff today then. I'm going to go through dimensions and specifications, a couple of different lume videos because the lume I think is well worth it. I'm going to put this one head to head with a Seiko known for their lume, indoor, outdoor, high, low wrist shots, and we'll get this Sellita 200 on the time grapher. But really, I think a great overall package, a really kind of compelling package, especially if you're going to keep a watch long term. If you're looking for something that you can knock around for a number of years, then that scratch-proof coating I think is an added bonus as well. Double dome sapphires, ceramic bezel insert, etc, etc. Now these are going to be launching on Kickstarter on the 20th of August. The introductory price, the early bird special, is going to be $399 US. Expected delivery time is February next year. So one of the downsides of Kickstarter is obviously that you're stumping up the money up front, you're pledging for one of these watches today, but you don't take receipt of it for about 4 to 5 months. Now, as I mentioned in the intro, one of the three brains behind this Axios is Elshan Tang of Zelos. So you can be pretty well assured that for a start, the project is going to go ahead and that the quality is going to be there. Zelos definitely one of my favourite micro brands. They made my top 5 micro brands of 2018 video, a video that I'm going to make towards the end of this year, and I'm sure they will be there or thereabouts again this year. Now, Zelos I think offers an awful lot for the money, and I think they definitely continued that theme with this Axios Ironclad. Perhaps not the most original design, I will get onto that later on, but let's talk dimensions and specifications to begin with. So 40mm in diameter, just under 14mm thick, 13.7 including that piece of double dome sapphire. 46, so a nice compact lug tip to lug tip, 46mm. However, it's one of these watches that the bracelet has that protruding mid-link of the end link, so that's 51. That kind of effectively on the wrist is somewhere in between 46 and 51. 20mm lug width, tapering down to 18, back up to 20 at a really very nice clasp. I'm going to show you the bracelet in just a second. Sized up for me, 7-inch wrist. This one weighs in at 170 grams, so that is actually quite a bit of weight. It's got a bit of heft considering it's a 40, not as big as the Helm Komodo for example, that was pushing 200 at 40mm, but not nearly as light as my Oris 65, that one's about 135. So if you like your watches relatively small in diameter, but with a bit of bulk to them, this Ironclad may suit you just fine. 316L stainless steel case, crown, bezel and bracelet. Full solid links, solid end links. I'm going to show you that, as I said, in just a second. Now, we do have a fully loomed ceramic bezel insert, double dome sapphire, as I've said a couple of times. Screw down crown, giving this watch 500 meters of water resistance. Again, spec monster, 500, not 300 or 200, but you get 500 meters of water resistance. Screw down case back, again, I'll show you that in just a second as well. The bezel is, as you would expect, 120 click unidirectional rotating dive time, and it is rock solid. Submariner style edge here, not super grippy. You're going to have to work it a little bit, but then again, you're not going to knock it by accident, and very robust. Everything lines up just as it should. Zoomed right on the dial, and you can see a fairly pronounced sunburst effect. I believe all of these watches have that sunburst effect on the dial. So the applied logo, that is the Axios logo there, just automatic in 500 meters, 1640 feet in case you were wondering, printed above the date frame at 6 o'clock. Now, nice chamfered edge date window there at 6, and it's a colour matched date wheel, which is always a bit of a bonus. Applied indices, I think the dial is nice and clean. Applied indices, kind of truncated triangles. They actually look like little ramps. The noses of them are chamfered off as well at the 12, the 3 and the 9. Missing down there at the 6 because of the date window, and circular indices everywhere else. Nice bit of depth to them though, and it also helps with the lume. Now, I'll pop the lume video up now. This is Superluminova C3X1 grade, so the top grade of C3 Superluminova. First time I've seen this one. I've seen X1C1 and that was pretty impressive. This X1C3 is fantastic. Super bright green initially, and it lasts and it lasts and it lasts. But a bit of a Z-Loss specialty, they seem to have carried it over here as well. Two-tone lume. If you see the minute track on the bezel, fully loomed bezel with fully loomed minute track, and they've used BGW9 there as well. So you do get a nice kind of two-toned lume effect after dark, and as you can see, it just keeps on hanging on. So much so that I thought I'd put it up against the Seiko Turtle, not known as a slouch when it comes to lume at this $400 price point. Now, Lumi Bright, again, very impressive initially, just like the X1C3, but as you can see, as the time progresses, the Axios hangs on in much more impressive overall than the Turtle. So pretty good job on the lume. Like I said, can't remember too many watches out looming this one for 400 bucks. Now the handset, kind of sword hands mixed with cathedral hands, if you see what I mean, on the hour and the minute. Fairly pronounced second hand as well there. They've colour matched this one in red. Kind of goes nicely with the blue and that little red 500 meter water resistance rating above the 6. Clearly, once you put something in a 40mm case with crown guards, you're going to draw comparisons with Rolex Submariners, especially with a 3-link Oyster bracelet. However, I would not call this watch an homage. I think the dial is too different, the hands is too different, the ceramic bezel insert far too different as well. It's got a bit of character of its own. And as suggested, the bracelet is a good one. Nice, consistent, fine brushing. Fully brushed bracelet. So brushed 3-piece Oyster link and brushed sides to those links. So unlike most Submariner style watches which have high polished sides, this one is all brushed. Screw links, as I mentioned there as well. You'll need to get one of your 1mm screwdrivers if you want to size this one up properly. And a great clasp. Nice chamfered edges, a whole bunch of micro adjusts. The Axios logo properly engraved in there. Little space for your fingernail, double security pushers, and is a proper scissor clasp. Definitely a cut above the norm, this one. Popping a link to show you the screw down case back, nicely deeply etched with the Ironclad that gives this watch its name. One of the Ironclad warships that ended the 3,000 year long reign of the wooden warship. All very nice, all quite simple actually. And beating away behind that nicely engraved caseback is a Sellita SW200-1 Swiss-made automatic movement. It's essentially a 26 jewel clone of the ETA 2824, so very similar specifications, roughly 40-hour power reserve. As you can see there, a beat rate of 28,800 vibrations per hour. Now, stated tolerances of this one, stated accuracy, -15 to +30. However, I have had a very good relationship with most of the SW200s I've reviewed so far. Most of them actually floating around this +5 to +10. This one coming in pretty much within that range. They're pretty solid, reliable, entry level admittedly, but solid and reliable Swiss high beat autos. You get that nice smooth sweep of the second hand with these as well. And there is the watch sitting on top of my 7-inch wrist. 40mm, a real sweet spot for me. This one though is quite heavy for a 40. I do tend to wear heavy watches a little bit tighter than I would wear a lighter watch. The bunch of micro adjust here though means that you can do that. Now, as I discussed earlier on, 46mm lug tip to lug tip, but the protruding mid-link means that it wears a little larger than that dimension would suggest. So just make sure, if you've got a slightly smaller wrist than I do, make sure you're okay with that style of protruding mid-link before you jump on board with this one. And there we are, that's the proper overhead shot. Still nice and legible, as it should be given that it's a dive watch. Plenty going on though, given the ceramic bezel insert, the sunburst effect on the centre of the dial, and a few different colours there as well. It does play with the light nicely, in spite of the fact that most of the watch is brushed. And taking the watch outside into some natural light, this is a prototype that I'm reviewing today. Not sure how much anti-reflective coating is on the underside of the sapphire on this one, but Axios claim they're going to put plenty on production units. So it should probably look a little more legible than this. That's it on wrist. It was a bit loose here for me. As I said, it's a fairly chunky watch. Up to you how you wear your watches though. Not much curvature in the lugs or the case, to be honest, but it's not a big watch. It should be fine for most. So a lot to like then. I think it's a fairly handsome big watch. Now big being the operative word, big for a 40. Very, very well spec'd. I mean, Sellita 200, fully loomed ceramic bezel insert, not to mention that 3 micron coating. A kind of wafer thin coating on all the steel surfaces on this watch, meaning that it should wear very, very well indeed long term. Human hair is about 30 microns thick, so it really is imperceptible. Just a little coating on here, but should ensure that the stainless steel finish lasts very well. A kind of equivalent to the Seiko DiaShield system that they use on some of their more expensive divers. So a lot to like in terms of specs then. What am I not so keen on? Well, it is a big 40mm. That's something that you're going to have to decide how you enjoy wearing your watches. That protruding mid-link and 170 grams, not inconsiderable. So don't be thinking that because it's a 40, it's going to be light and easy to wear. It is a little bit bigger and a little bit heavier on wrist. And it's not the most original design in the world, is it? There is a bit of a micro brand by numbers feel to it. I mean, the name Axios, you can see them around the table saying, what about a Greek or Roman name? They're always popular. Omega? No, that's been done. Phoebus? No, somebody got that one recently. Axios, that's perfect, perfect. What about a name for the watch itself? Something nautical, maritime, military, Ironclad, great. We can put it on the case pack because somebody already did, a mermaid riding a dolphin. But you can hardly blame them for playing it a bit safe. This is their first model after all. And I'm sure if Zelos is anything to go by, they'll want to get a few sales on the board, a bit of momentum behind the company, and I'm sure that Axios will branch out into more exciting and interesting models as the time progresses. And I don't think I got the most exciting colourway sent to me either. I mean, blue on blue is a little bit dull. If you check the website, they're offering 5. There's a Batman, there's a Hulk one, which I think looks great. My personal favourite though would be the Tudor heritage style gilt with that little red triangle, perhaps a little bit more of an homage in terms of the colour scheme, but I think it would really suit the watch. But a lot to like about this one, some really nice little touches, a well thought out design overall, and an absolute spec monster for $399 US. So there you have it, the Axios Ironclad. Perhaps not the most original design in the world, perhaps not the most original branding in the world either, but for a debut attempt, I think this one is a very, very strong first effort. I've no doubt it will do well on Kickstarter and we'll see more original products from Axios as the time goes on. I think I got the most boring colourway. I wouldn't necessarily be opting for the blue. I think the gilt and black one looks fantastic. The Hulk one, the all green one, or perhaps one of those two-tones ones with the orange hand would be the one to go for. Do bear in mind that it does wear a little larger than your average 40 thanks to those extended mid-links, but that's a good thing in some ways. It's a relatively small watch that's got a bit of heft about it. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.